Godric the Grafted is very mild compared to Margit, but don't get me wrong, I adore this battle. This fight is extremely fun, and I have a lot to say about it. If you haven't noticed, I'm using another character for this fight due to me killing Godric too early on the other character when quitting and restarting during the death animation didn't work like it usually does. I have a separate video about that occurrence on the channel. At first glance, this fight immediately reminded me of the Ludwig the Accursed and the One Reborn designs from Bloodborne, with all of its additional limbs attached to the model. However, the fight plays out very differently. This may be a stretch, but the moveset very vaguely reminds me of the Dirty Colossus from Demon Souls. That boss also shoots projectiles out of its seemingly amputated left arm, which has a barrel and casing that can be destroyed but has no significant change. Other than that, the boss is very unique compared to anything else in the Soul Blood games. Since I'm using a much faster weapon than I usually do, I was able to approach more attacks to punish, and I really wish I approached Margit this way to explore more iframes, but thankfully I'll get that opportunity again later. My main strategy was to lightly strike small attacks and strike heavy after more cinematic attacks, which is how it usually goes, but Godric perfectly displays that here. The attacks I looked forward to the most was the Axe Drag and the Whirlwind Jump, which were the most satisfying for me, especially the Whirlwind Jump that has an incredible iframe hug during the jump that allowed a lot of hits. The Whirlwind attack also has a variant move that doesn't happen a lot unless you are always far away from what I've noticed. And this additional move has Godric dragging his axe, creating a homing vortex. This attack reminds me of the large homing purple mass from the Four Kings, which is a very complicated attack to avoid, and it deserves a video alone discussing its incredibly stubborn behavior in player strategies, but it's great to see it conceptually executed better here in Elden Ring. Phase 2 is a lot better and slightly faster paced. Thankfully, Godric doesn't idle nowhere near as bad like Margit, so the battle moves at a fairly constant pace. The dragon head attacks are wonderful for the most part, except for the one that sprays forward tracking the player. This attack has some random damage detection, so I usually just kept my distance. And once again, the attack I hated the most isn't present in the footage I have, so I can't fully showcase my annoyance of how much time it wastes. As for the other fire breath attacks, I was very surprised on how generous the iframes were. Like, the Fire Breath Sweep allows so many attack opportunities if you're close enough, and the Fire Gravel Toss also just lets you walk right up for some free hits. Like I said in the beginning, I love this fight, however I can't help but feel underwhelmed after Margit. I was really hoping to spend days practicing this fight, but perhaps Elden Ring is saving something very special for me.